A workhorse for sloppy and wet conditions, the Speedgoat 5 offers a new upper featuring a GORE-TEX membrane with the same Vibram Megagrip outsole that we've come to love with those Traction Lugs, designed to keep you out on the trails even when it's less than ideal conditions. So how did it do in my testing, and should the Speedgoat 5 GTX be your next winter running shoe? Well, let's take a look. Well, hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. First, I want to let you know that HOKA did send the Speedgoat 5 GTX to me to review. They're not paying me for this. They're not influencing my opinion. They're not telling me what to say. I'm going to give you my completely honest opinion, just like always. Well, let's dive right in with the stats of the HOKA Speedgoat 5 GTX. First off, it is a neutral trail running shoe, and there is a little bit of flexibility and twist to the shoe here. As for the stack height, I have seen some different measurements out there, but I believe the correct version is with HOKA's new measurement for stack height, which is the sock liner included in that measurement. Previously, they didn't do that. So what I've seen and what I believe to be accurate is 36 millimeters in the rear and 32 millimeters in the front for a 4 millimeter drop. As for the weight, my men's size 11 weighed in at 12.5 ounces or 357 grams. Now that is a bit over an ounce heavier than the non-GORE-TEX version of the Speedgoat 5. As for the fit, they are true to HOKA sizing, so size 11 in the Speedgoat 5 GTX should fit you the same as a size 11 in the Mafate or the Rincon or the Clifton. And I should note that it is made from vegan and recycled materials. But before we get into all the details of the Speedgoat 5 GTX, do me a favor, scroll down, click that thumbs up button, give the video a like if you find this helpful. I would really appreciate it, and it does help the channel out a lot. That'd be cool. Moving on to the upper of the Speedgoat 5 GTX. This is where things really start to differ from the regular Speedgoat 5 version. It does still feature that same dual layer jacquard mesh engineered upper, which we have on the Speedgoat 5. It's a great upper. However, now it has the GORE-TEX waterproof booty membrane inside. That waterproof GORE-TEX membrane is actually adhered to the inside of the upper, and so far in my testing, it has done a really good job keeping my feet dry and warm. It is important to note though that since that membrane is adhered on the inside, it does take away some of the, maybe the volume of the Speedgoat 5. It is by no means narrow, don't get me wrong. It's just maybe a tad bit less roomy in certain areas, but we'll get to that in more detail. But so far, I've been very happy with that GORE-TEX membrane. It has done a great job. Many times running in wet, sloppy snow, melting snow. I've had it splash over on top of the shoe, and my foot has stayed completely dry and very warm in cold temperatures. As for the breathability of the Speedgoat 5 GTX, there really isn't any, but let's be honest, this is a GORE-TEX shoe. It's a waterproof shoe, so we really should not expect it to be too breathable. When I switch that hair dryer on low for the tissue test, you can see the tissue barely moves, if it moves at all. Even when I switched it to high, there really wasn't any movement out of the tissue. Really was not expecting any different results from this test. Like I said, it is a GORE-TEX waterproof shoe. One negative of that lack of breathability is if you are going to be doing an event where maybe your feet are going to get very wet, or maybe you go through a creek crossing. These are going to hold that water in. They are not going to drain well at all or dry well, so keep that in mind. The toe box has maybe just a tad bit less room than the Speedgoat 5. However, it's still plenty ample space for my foot shape and my foot, even when wearing 2 layers of socks. However, what I really like about this toe box and this upper is it does not have that same stretchy vamp that the Speedgoat 5 has, which if you take a look at the Speedgoat 5, the vamp is this portion right here in the shoe, and this is very stretchy. And that really did not allow me to get a good secure fit with the Speedgoat 5 because it stretched so much over a run that I had to retie my shoes. That is not the case with the Speedgoat 5 GTX. This has been very nice. Does not stretch. I really enjoyed it. And I also want to point out in the front here, there is a rubber toe cap that goes just about all the way of the toe box and in the front, and it's pretty stiff as well. And it's going to protect your foot if you smack it into any rocks and really just kind of give you a little extra layer of protection. Moving on up the shoe to the medial arch, I did not have any issues with hot spots or pinching. It is maybe, like I said, just a tad bit less roomy than the Speedgoat 5 due to that waterproof membrane. But on my 40th birthday run, I ran 40 miles. I was wearing 2 layers of socks, and I still did not have any issues with rubbing, hot spots. It fit very well. The laces are typical for HOKA. They are their lay flat laces. They tie very well. They don't come untied. They do a great job. The tongue on the Speedgoat 5 GTX is fully gusseted due to that inner membrane, that waterproof membrane. It goes all the way over the shoe, so it is completely secure in there. This tongue is not going to move on you. It's going to stay put. The tongue seems to be about the same thickness and padding of the Speedgoat 5, the non-GORE-TEX version. version. However, I do think that this comes up a little bit higher. That was one of the big issues I had on the Speedgoat 5. The tongue seemed to be very low. I mean, you can see it's barely sticking out of the top of the shoe here. The laces would rub across the top of my foot, cause some issues, hot spots. I just couldn't get it very comfortable. That has not been the case with the Speedgoat 5 GTX. I'm very happy to report it has been much more comfortable. Even on that 40-mile run where I was out there for 6.5 hours, it felt very comfortable. Moving on to the rear of the shoe, we have the bolstered heel collar back here, and this is very comfortable. Again, on that 40-mile run, I had no issues of discomfort. It is nicely padded. It feels maybe a little bit more comfortable, honestly, than the Speedgoat 5, the non-GORE-TEX version. That's one of the issues I had with that shoe. I attempted to run a 100-mile race in these. I ended up having to change them after about 30 miles because it felt like it was rubbing on the lateral side of my ankle and causing a hot spot and a blister, so I changed the shoes. I did finish the race, but not in the Speedgoat 5s. I didn't have any issue with that. Even on that 40-mile run with the GORE-TEX version here, it just felt nicely padded, comfortable, didn't rub. It offered great protection for my heel. The heel counter itself is very stiff, has that same heel flare that we're used to on a lot of HOKAs now to help you get that shoe on. Overall, the upper of the Speedgoat 5 GTX honestly has been a nice surprise. I really like it quite a bit better than the Speedgoat 5 non-GORE-TEX. All right, let's talk about the midsole of the Speedgoat 5 GTX. First off, there is a EVA sock liner inside. It is molded to fit the bottom of the foot of the shoe here. It is very, very thin, very typical for a lot of HOKA shoes. Underneath of that though is the compression molded EVA midsole foam, and this is the same midsole foam that is in the Speedgoat 5, the non-GORE-TEX version here. And it has that same late stage meta rocker that we've all come to know and love and expect from the HOKA Speedgoat line. Now I do feel that the midsole of the Speedgoat 5 GTX felt just a little bit more firm than the Speedgoat 5. That was actually one of the issues I had with the Speedgoat 5, is to me, this felt a little too squishy. I don't really know how else to explain it other than squishy. Like my foot felt like it almost sunk down inside of the midsole foam, and it was not a good feeling for me. With the Speedgoat 5 GTX, however, I did not have that feeling at all. Yeah, I still had really good cushion and support and protection, even on that 40-mile run, which was almost entirely on crushed gravel with some snow on lots of the trail as well. My foot felt plenty of protection and comfort and cushion, and that compression molded EVA midsole was really just very, very nice. Like I said, it was on gravel for a lot of that run, and even without a rock plate, I had plenty of protection in this from this massive amount of stack height of this midsole foam. It kept my foot protected on that long run. Now I do feel when wearing this shoe that I did sit more on top of the midsole, where the Speedgoat 5, I felt like I was maybe down more in it. It's kind of a hard way to describe that. So I feel that running over very technical terrain with the Speedgoat 5 GTX is probably going to leave me feeling a little bit unstable because I do have some ankle issues. However, I had the same feeling in the Speedgoat 5. I also felt this to be unstable over technical terrain due to that stack height. So if you have ankle issues similar to me, you may want to be a little cautious. Overall, the midsole of the Speedgoat 5 GTX is typical Speedgoat. If you love that midsole feel, you're going to love this. The outsole of the Speedgoat 5 GTX is the exact same as the non-GORE-TEX version, and that is a very, very good thing. This Vibram Megagrip outsole with Traction Lugs is just amazing. It offers phenomenal grip. Those 5mm in-depth Traction Lugs have a layered effect, which you can see, and they also have little traction knobs on them. And this design is supposed to increase traction on wet, sloppy, nasty trails. And I mean, come on, it's a Speedgoat. It's what we have come to expect from the Speedgoat line. They have always been one of the most grippy shoes out there. It is no different from the HOKA Speedgoat 5 GTX. This thing is absolutely amazing. Even on snowy trails, muddy trails, the grip has just been phenomenal. As far as the durability goes of that Vibram Megagrip outsole, it's usually pretty good. However, my non-GORE-TEX version here, these only have 77 miles on them, and I can already see some of those traction lugs, those pods, are starting to wear down. So, however, I do feel pretty confident in saying you should be able to get up to about 400 miles out of that outsole. So the Speedgoat 5 GTX retails for $170 US, which is a lot of money. That is $10 more than the HOKA Challenger 7 GTX. They retail for $160. However, what you're gonna get for that money is a shoe that'll keep your feet dry and warm and allow you to keep running all winter long. So the bottom line of the HOKA Speedgoat 5 GTX is they are the perfect winter trail running shoe in my opinion. They've kept my feet dry and warm even in snow up over the shoes as I'm running. They've given me confidence over sloppy trails with this awesome Vibram Megagrip outsole, and they protected my foot exceptionally well over that 40-mile long run. So if you were in the market for a winter trail running shoe, I highly recommend checking out the HOKA Speedgoat 5 GTX. Now, have you tried the HOKA Speedgoat 5 GTX? If so, let us know below down in the comments what your thoughts, if you liked the shoe, if you had any issues. Let everybody know. I'm sure they would really appreciate that. I would as well. Now, maybe you're like me and you don't run all of your miles on the trail and you're looking for a GORE-TEX shoe to help your feet stay dry and warm on the roads. Well, then I can definitely recommend checking out the full review of the HOKA Clifton 9 GTX. Really a phenomenal shoe also. Take a look on your screen. Thank you all for watching. I do appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.